Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our newest edition of Chats with Legends. In this edition, we bring you this very special guest from South Africa. Lebo is a medical biological scientist. We'll be talking in this episode of Chats with Legends about this month of conscientization about the infertility. So stay tuned to our conversation and don't forget to follow us on our social media. So how's your day going?
It's okay. It's a Friday, but I'm still at work. But it's going okay. Yeah. How are you doing?
For being available for this chat.
It's a pleasure.
I just have those 5 questions and I won't take much time. And I was a little bit curious to know a little bit more about you. And I was excited when I saw that information online. I said, like, wow, this is a great opportunity to chat with her and know a little bit more about her.
Yeah. Wow. So I'm Lebo Moatshe, and I'm currently a medical biological scientist intern. And I'm specializing in reproductive biology, specifically in embryology.
Oh, thanks.
So, yeah.
That's amazing. Welcome to Chats with Legends.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, so Lebo, I have a couple of questions. The first one, we are celebrating this month, the Fertility Month. So I was wondering here, what is the importance? What is the real goal of debating these topics? We can look in the global perspective, or we can look at, to the African perspective too. So what is the goals? What is it important to talk about infertility in the modern times?
It's very important for us to highlight infertility, or rather the occurrence thereof, because as you mentioned, in the African context or in our African society, infertility is something that has been looked down upon, or it has been stigmatized a lot. Yeah. And you find that women are more blamed when it comes to infertility, and men don't take the responsibility of checking the sperm parameters or their semen parameters and seeing how infertility might play a role in their life. So it's very important for us to raise awareness and to let women know that they're not on their own, to let men know also that they're also not on their own, that there is a lot of help out there. And also, try and merge the two genders and try and also mitigate the stigma that is going around regarding infertility. And we also have same-sex couples that will also try and have families. So it is very important for us to give them that line, to tell them that if they would like to have the rights to a family, we are there to assist them.
No, that's great. So I would like to know a little bit more about that, because talking about infertility is really sensitive, actually. I know that I was watching a couple of days ago this information about a couple who split because of these issues, these matters. So how can we talk about infertility in our reality, talking about Africa in particular? Because we know that in our marital situations, it might be a little complicated if you realize that your wife or your husband actually don't procreate, don't have the ability to create a life. So how do you see these all aspects, and how can we overcome?
I mean, I'm not married, so I don't really know what happens in marriages. But from my point of view, or rather from the point of view of my speciality, you find that a lot of married couples do indeed split when they find that one of them is infertile. And what needs to happen is that the couple needs to inquire with a fertility specialist, and the fertility specialist will give them the options. And those married couples need to know that fertility treatment is very much available, and that will indeed decrease the divorce rates that pertain to divorces that occur due to infertility. So you're right by saying that infertility does impact a lot of marriages. People just need to be aware that fertility treatment is available, and that is a way to sort of contribute positively to divorce rates.
So do you think these services are available for all citizens? Because I think that it might be a little bit complicated for a common citizen to have access to this kind of treatment. Do you think is it accessible for all of us? Or we still have a fight to make
it is
this
accessible.
okay. I'm listening.
It is accessible. I'm saying that because I work at a government institution, and we do have couples that are unemployed. We have couples that earn between 5 and 10,000 rand, and the government does try to subsidize infertility, or rather fertility treatments. And in terms of accessibility, I would say that yes, it is accessible. The only thing that is lacking is information and education, and then that's when we're going to see a high rise of people coming in for fertility treatment. But I still feel that medical aids don't really cover fertility treatment, or if they do, they don't cover all the aspects pertaining to fertility treatment. And it is of my opinion that infertility should be treated like any other disease, any other chronic disease, and it should be fertility treatment should be accessible to everybody in that regard. That if you're on medical aid, if medical aid covers other chronic illnesses, it should also cover fertility treatment. So yes, it is accessible. It's just that the stakeholders need to make it more accessible to everyone.
No, that's great, amazing. So can you talk a little bit about the assistance provided to patients with HIV, looking to the reproductive and aspect related to sexual health? Can you talk a little bit more about this aspect, because it's still a little sensitive yet, talking about patients with HIV. Even though we have a lot of information about this topic, there's a lot of people that don't come out of this with this information, assuming that they are HIV positive. So how do you analyze these all topics?
We are available to treat anyone and everybody that is within the requirements, or rather the criteria that fertility treatment expects. And with regards to HIV positive patients, the male patients, we have what we call a semen decontamination procedure, whereby we try and isolate semen, whereby we have a yield of sperm that is HIV negative, and away from the semen that is infested with the virus. So what we do also is that the sperm does not contain receptors, or there's been a lot of debate about whether the sperm actually contains receptors for the virus. So once we have isolated the sperm from the semen, and we basically, what we do is that we're going to send what we've isolated to a lab, and then the lab is going to confirm for us whether we successfully removed the virus from the semen sample that we're provided with. But what is also important is that the patients that go for ART treatment that are HIV positive, they need to be within a limit, within a pathological limit in terms of their viral load and CD4 count. So we also depend on hot treatments or antiretrovirals, so that the patients' viral load and CD4 count are at an undetectable level, and that's how we assist HIV positive patients.
So how do you analyze the current status? I mean, the actual stage of seroprevalence prevalence in our country, in Africa in particular? How do you how do you analyze this? Do we still have a big fight? Are we achieving those considerable goals, or we still have a long way to go?
Well, I think that we still have a long way to go, because HIV is still very much stigmatized, and a lot of people are still, debating about whether when you have sexual intercourse with an HIV positive partner, when the viral load is undetectable, they still think that you might transmit the virus. So I'd say that education is very much important in this regard. And but in terms of the treatments that are offered, I think that we have come a long way. So education is very important, awareness is very important, and coming together as a community and introducing new treatments and basically just showing the world what can be done and educating more people.
Oh, thanks you. I'm very grateful for your time, Lebo. I know you're working now, and it's actually a privilege to be able to have you here, even though you're still working, you're at the office. So just to end our conversation for today, which message to the world regarding to this month, which we'll be talking about infertility? Which message do you leave for all people around the world?
To just say that we must just continue educating, we must just continue supporting one another. To the people that are suffering with infertility, to know that there's a large community behind them, and to those that are actually scared to do any assisted reproductive technology, just to say to them that there's a lot of information out there. And if they would like to talk to me, I'm also very much available, or I'll try my best to be available and to continue raising awareness.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. See you next time. It was a pleasure to have you here.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Sergio.
Yeah, have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us in this special edition of Shots of Legends. Today we had this amazing conversation with Lebo, who explained a little bit about HIV. We'll talk a little also about the process of eliminating HIV from a sample of a semen. We also had the privilege of talking about this month, which we celebrate the conscientization about this sensitive topic, which is infertility. So it was a pleasure to have you there. Hope to see you in the next edition of Shots of Legends. Don't forget to follow us on our social media. We are on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube. See you in the next edition of Shots of Legends.